Hey guys, it's Ellie from Elsa's Wholesome Life. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are back in my kitchen and I am sharing with you all my 5 favorite healthy and vegan breakfasts. Now these breakfasts are some that you can prep and take with you to work or uni or school or whatever you're doing. Having a healthy breakfast to start your day is so important and really sets the tone for the rest of the day. So that's why I wanted to create these quick, easy breakfasts for you guys to follow along and hopefully have some inspiration in your kitchen this week. So follow along and you can see my 5 favorite breakfasts. The first recipe is a baked pear porridge. Porridge or oatmeal is one of my favorite wholesome breakfasts. The whole grain contains lots of fiber and carbohydrates to give you energy to last all morning. Now measure out half a cup of oats per 1 serve. Next, we're going to add some seeds to our porridge. I add about 2 to 3 teaspoons of different seeds, and today I'm using hemp seeds and chia seeds for the added essential fatty acids such as omega-3 and 6. Now to add some warming winter flavor, I'm going to add some cinnamon powder, and I add about half a teaspoon. Next, we're going to add 1 cup of water into the pot, as well as half a cup of plant-based milk. Now I personally love using oat milk in my porridge, but any plant-based milk will do. Place the pot onto a stove over high heat and allow it to simmer for 3 to 5 minutes. You want to check on it and stir it every now and then to make sure it's not drying out. Personally, I prefer my porridge on the runnier side, so sometimes I'll add some water or some milk as I cook to keep it to the consistency that I like. Now, since this recipe is for a baked pear porridge, you'll need to bake some pears. I like to pre-bake mine and keep them in the fridge for the whole week so that it saves time each morning. To do this, grab a pear, cut it in half, place it in the oven at about 160 to 170 degrees Celsius and bake it for about 30 to 35 minutes or until soft and baked through. Now to serve your baked pear, if it hasn't come fresh from the oven, you may like to zap it in the microwave or dice it up and put it in the pot of porridge and stir through to warm. Now it's time to serve up that porridge. I'm going to pour mine into a bowl because I'm going to eat it right away and top it with some of that baked pear. I chose to reheat mine and pop it on top. To sweeten it, which is totally optional, you can add about half to 1 teaspoon of coconut sugar. And then I like to add a bit of extra cinnamon on top. I also like to pour some cold milk on top. Again, I'm using that oat milk. I'm going to sprinkle some extra seeds on top as well, which is totally optional. And lastly, I'm going to finish with about a tablespoon of nut butter. I've used macadamia butter today because I absolutely love the flavor of macadamia nuts. Otherwise, you can try any nut butter such as almond butter or cashew butter. Well guys, that is my baked pear porridge. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. It's super easy and so good for you. You can also pop it into a container and take it with you to work to reheat later. The second of my 5 favorite breakfasts is this beautifying bersha. This recipe is one of my favorite things to make in the summertime as you can prep it and take it to work, school or uni. I also love to prep these if I have an early morning flight because I know I can make it the night before and pack it with me for the flight the next day and have a wholesome breakfast to start my day. The recipe I'm making serves 2. Grab 2 containers and I'm going to measure out 1/4 cup of oats into each container. Next, I'm going to add a tablespoon of coconut flakes, followed by some seeds. Once again, I'm using chia seeds and hemp seeds. Add a teaspoon of each to each bowl. I'm also adding in a teaspoon of flax seeds. Now what makes this bersha really special is this beauty blend by Unicorn Superfoods. I add a teaspoon of it to each bowl. The beauty blend contains a mixture of strawberry powder, roselle powder, mangosteen and raspberry. Now because I love vanilla, I'm also adding about 1/4 teaspoon of this vanilla paste to each bowl. Next, you're going to add some plant-based milk. I use almond milk for this recipe, but you can use any kind of milk. I also like to top it with 1/4 cup of water as well. Basically, you just want to cover it with a bit more because it's going to absorb all that liquid when you set it overnight. Now stir it all together and watch how it grows this beautiful pink color. Next, we're going to top both the bowls with frozen berries. I have about half a cup here and I've used blueberries and raspberries, but you can use any kind of fresh or frozen berry. I personally prefer to use frozen berries because overnight they defrost and become really gooey, and I think this just adds a nice texture. Now, if you've been watching my vlogs for a while, you'll know that I am obsessed with Pick's nut butter range. I love the almond butter one and it is so creamy and delicious on top of this recipe. So I'm putting about a tablespoon on each bowl. Cover your Bersha and place it in the fridge to set overnight. Now it's the next day and you should have a beautiful thick Bersha. Well, there you have my beautifying Bersha, guys. I hope you love this recipe. It's one of my favorite things in summer, and I honestly eat this every single day for months on end because it's so delicious and really easy to make. You can even make it for the whole week if you like, and it's a great dish that you can prep and take to work so you have something healthy. This breakfast is super wholesome with a good combination of protein, carbs and fat. Unicorn Superfoods have also offered a discount for you guys if you want to try out their products. You can use the code ELSA20 for 20% off. The Beauty Blend is a great one to start with because it has a combination of different powders in there, turns everything pink, and it tastes really yummy. Okay, moving on, we have my third favorite breakfast. Now this recipe is from my first cookbook titled Elsa's Wholesome Life, and is honestly a favorite in our household. It's called the Hearty Baked Beanies, and they are just such a good wholesome breakfast that you can prep for the whole week, just like the other recipes. So first up, we're going to start by finely dicing half a brown onion, and then we're going to finely mince 3 garlic cloves. Drain and rinse 2 cans of white cannellini beans. Add to a large saucepan 1 tablespoon of avocado oil. Add in the onion and garlic, as well as 1 tablespoon of mustard seeds. We're also adding in a tablespoon of smoked paprika, as well as a pinch of ground cinnamon. Add half a teaspoon of salt and place the pot over medium to high heat. You want to saute this mixture for about 2 to 3 minutes or until the onion becomes translucent. Now we're going to add to the pan 2 400 gram cans of finely diced tomatoes. Stir those through and then also add 1 can full of water. Add in those cannellini beans along with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Stir everything through and then reduce the heat to a medium heat. Freshly crack some black peppercorns into the pot to suit your taste. Allow the mix to simmer on the stove for about 15 to 20 minutes. You want the water to reduce and it to be thick just like it is here. Now, as I said, this dish makes for great leftovers, so I've made enough servings here to last us the whole week. Spoon the mixture into containers to seal and place in the fridge. You can also throw some of these containers into the freezer so that you have some meals on hand. Cover them with airtight lids and they should last in the fridge for about 5 to 6 days. Now with my extra bean mix, I'm going to serve it fresh for breakfast this morning. I've toasted 2 pieces of rye bread and you're just going to scoop a ladle of the beans on top of your toast. To garnish my baked beans, I've got some pickled chilies, some vegan coconut feta which has been mixed with some dukkha, and then finally I'm going to garnish it with some freshly cracked pepper and some chili salt flakes. Well, there you have my hearty baked bean mixture. As you can see, this recipe is actually really quick and easy to make, and it's so good just to make a big batch of this on the weekend to have for breakfast all week. I like to make this for the week, and then it's easy for Alex and I just to prep some breakfast when we get home from the gym. The beans in this dish make it really rich in protein, and serving it with some toast adds some good carbohydrates. We've also got some extra fat from the coconut feta on top. And yeah, I think you guys are going to love this recipe. It's definitely been a winner from my first cookbook. So the fourth recipe today is my chopped peanut butter blueberry smoothie. This is a great option in summer and when you want something really speedy for breakfast. All up, it'll only take you a few minutes to put together. So add to a high-powered blender 2 frozen bananas, a handful of frozen blueberries, and 3 ice cubes. Add 1 tablespoon each of rolled oats and peanut butter. Pour in about 1 cup of plant-based milk. My favorite in this smoothie is oat milk. Now for a boost of protein in the smoothie, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of our chopped peanut butter smoothie blend. As well as adding a boost of protein, it adds a nice chocolate peanut butter flavour. And lastly, I'm going to be adding a teaspoon each of Unicorn Superfoods pink pitaya powder as well as their blue spirulina powder. Pitaya or dragon fruit is super expensive to buy here in Australia, so I love having the powder on hand to add to my smoothies instead of the fresh fruit. I also really love their blue spirulina powder. It makes the smoothie go a really cool purple colour when mixed with the pitaya, as well as some of those health benefits that you get from spirulina. And the final step is just to blend this all together, so blend it on high until smooth and creamy. The trick to getting a really thick and creamy smoothie is using frozen fruits and not adding too much liquid. And if you guys are interested in trying out our protein, I'm going to pop a link in the description for you to check out. And don't forget to use my code on Unicorn Superfoods if you want to get a little discount. This smoothie is one of my all-time favorite combinations. I actually used to have this every day for breakfast when I was living in Bali, so it really takes me back to those tropical days. The fifth and final recipe for today's video is my tofu scramble, my go-to high-protein breakfast option. So place 200 grams of a medium tofu into a bowl, sprinkle it with some turmeric powder, chili flakes, salt, and some freshly cracked pepper. Add a teaspoon of olive oil on top, and then we're going to crush 1 garlic clove and finely dice it. Add the garlic to the bowl, and we're also going to add a chopped up spring onion. And the final ingredient is a coconut aminos. Alternatively, you can use soy sauce, and I've added 2 teaspoons. Mash up the tofu scramble using the back of a fork, and you want to mash it up enough so that the texture resembles some feta and all the ingredients are stirred through. Place the mixture into a non-stick fry pan over medium to high heat, and you're going to saute/fry that for about 3 to 5 minutes or until it goes golden all over and starts to get some brown crispy parts. Now to serve with my tofu scramble today, I'm having some sliced avocado for those healthy fats, as well as all the fiber that's in avocados, with a squeeze of lime juice over that avocado. Oh, and I forgot to mention this serves 2 people, so spoon on that tofu scramble over the 2 toasts. We're also sprinkling over some nutritional yeast and chili salt flakes. Plus, as a final garnish, I like to add some hemp seeds as well. That concludes my 5 favorite healthy breakfasts. I hope you guys have enjoyed following me along on all these recipes. They're all super quick, super healthy, and recipes that I eat every single week. And as I'm new here to YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and also give this video a like because it really supports my channel. Thanks so much for watching.